All right, welcome to the Relationship Show. So I just finished this book. It's called The Appearance of Power, How Masculinity is Expressed Through Aesthetics. It pretty much is just like a history of how people have dressed in the past and, how it displayed like these specific qualities that were valued at that time. So it's really about like figuring out what qualities that you want to convey, whether it's like honor, courage, strength, things along those lines, and then dressing in accordance with that. Another thing he talked about was there's this ratio that like artists have used all the time or whatever. It's like to display what is like appealing to the eye, and it's a ratio. It's a number like 1.618. So what they're talking about in there is that like your proportions need to be like 1.618 in order to be considered like the most appealing. So, for instance, he talks about the biggest one is your shoulders. So it's like a 1.618 ratio between the width of your shoulders versus your waist. And so you want to dress in accordance to basically look like that ratio. And so it's like more about shape than it is really like the colors or things along those lines. He talks about colors too. It's like has to do with your skin tone and what's called like your undertones. I had never heard that before, but it's like I guess you have undertones in your skin that basically match a certain color, whether it's cold colors or warm colors better. And so if you can understand that just by doing a few simple tests, then you can decide which colors fit you best. And then just kind of adjust your wardrobe accordingly. So because some colors make other people look healthier, and some colors make other people look sicker or more sickly or pale. But he said, he even mentions it in here, he's like, dressing is not the most important thing. He says it's like getting your body in a shape that fits this ratio. That is the most important thing. So he says working out, it's probably one of the best things you can do as far as fitting into that ratio and then getting that appeal. But for the most part, it's just like have an outcome of what you want. And then also, if you're trying to stand out or be different or whatever, for the most part, you have to be number one. So you have to be the best in your field to really set a trend that really lasts and changes the whole entire industry or whatever group you're in. One other important thing he talked about in that book in regards to masculinity was really the types of masculinity. And there's one type, which is like the rugged, which is kind of like the traditional masculine type, maybe like a logger or like a mechanic or something along those lines, like outdoorsman, kind of tough guy that's just kind of like physically built, strong. But then there's also another type of masculinity that's like almost like a nobility type masculinity, where it's like that is the power that comes from like the nobility and the status. And then there's a third type, which is basically like kind of like the outcast. And so that's the one that just kind of breaks the rules and does whatever they want. And all those different types are attractive and still fall into the masculine category, but they're just kind of different subcategories of masculinity. But it's a good book. I would have liked a little bit more like actual applicable examples. This talked about a lot of stuff in like history and things along those lines, and very good concepts and like the why behind. I guess this guy's like he dresses people. I don't know. That's his job is to dress people. I think. I haven't looked too much into this guy as far as I know he's credible as far as he's got a big audience at least. But good book overall. I just would have liked some like practical like what to do examples, not just necessarily the concepts. The concepts are great, but I would have liked some things that I could have applied. But just kind of taking that into my own context. So it's like you want to pick glasses that fit with your face between that like 1.618 ratio. Trying to make your face like more of an oval, and then also getting kind of that V taper where it's like the 1.618 versus to the 1 as far as a ratio between your hips and shoulders. And just kind of getting this V shape that's supposedly more attractive. But I'm just kind of trying this one out. New book for me. I like to read books, multiple times before I really get a grasp on them. But I figured I'd just share this one with you today. Something to look into if you are looking to improve your style or whatever. As far as guys, style does matter, but it's more about really masculinity and how much you convey that masculine presence. Is like looks can be part of it, but it mainly fits towards like kind of like a rugged, in a lot of cases, like the rugged type of masculinity, that one of three. Going back to that was probably one of the biggest takeaways, was those three types of masculinity. Because I just figured that does seem true, because women are really attracted to people who are powerful, rich, and also people who like break the rules. So think like rock stars. They might not have any money or things along those lines, or not be very tough, but they break the rules and they do whatever they want. So that is attractive. And then also, guys that are just like traditional, rugged, what you normally think of as like a masculine guy. But yeah, it's called The Appearance of Power, How Masculinity is Expressed Through Aesthetics by Tanner Guzzi, if you want to check that out.